Namaste friends, and welcome to Ayurvedic Lifestyle Tips with Lala. In today's episode we'll be talking about the sacred act of eating. In Ayurveda, eating is considered to be a sacred act and therefore respected as such. It is the food that you are taking in is giving up its life so that you may nourish and sustain your body. It's not often, if ever, that we think about the food that we take in this way, but this is one of the precious gifts that Ayurveda has to offer, is to live with more awareness, and in particular, it tries to infiltrate it through these everyday, sort of more mundane activities. Being more present has it has an incredible power with it and is very empowering and has the ability to naturally shift some of our habits to live with more alignment. Ayurveda offers us rituals around eating to increase this awareness and also to help with digestion. So let's go over these 9 points. The environment. Have it be peaceful and beautiful. Of course, that is not always possible, but do your best. We like to take our store-bought lunch or homemade dinners, and we take them to a nearby park or green area, or take them to the beach. And we have a picnic. This is a great way to get together with your partner or your family and create a nice little, change up the scenery a little bit. Giving thanks before a meal. This is to whatever degree you feel comfortable and what is meaningful to you and your family members. It doesn't have to have a religious connotation. I like to give thanks for the nourishment, for the hands that went into harvesting the food, preparing the food, the cook, and also then sending out those blessings out into the world. So it's not just about us, but that may all beings feel this nourished and fulfilled. We take turns saying grace so that everybody has an opportunity to express their personal gratitude. Keeping conversations light or quiet. Refrain from arguing or gossiping. Gossiping is so toxic. It really says more about you than it does the people that are being talked about. Instead, we marvel at the vegetables that we're eating and preparing that are now coming from our vegetable and herb garden that we've created since March. And also just how tasty these simply prepared meals can be. Chewing well. Your stomach does not have teeth, and the taste enjoyment really happens in the mouth. We forget that, and I remember when my awareness was brought to that about a year and a half ago, it's like the enjoyment is actually in the mouth. Once you swallow, there's no more taste sensation. Also, of course, if you don't chew well, the rest of the digestive process is being compromised. Warm and moist foods. So predominantly eat warm and moist foods. And that is that analogy that I've talked about before about the digestive system is like a little stove. So we have the Agni, we have the fire that needs to be kept stoked. And with warm and moist foods, those are so easy to digest that it doesn't require a lot of energy. As to say, if we had dry foods or cold foods, the body it takes a lot of energy to break that food down and to keep that fire stoked to cook that food. This both comes from the Ayurvedic system, and also Chinese medicine looks at it in this way. Minimal liquids with meals, and that's sort of in the same vein, but also when we chew, that saliva is created and enzymes start breaking down the food. We don't want to dilute that with a lot of liquids, and also particularly cold foods, like when we drink ice drinks and are served that in restaurants, that really impairs that Agni. So instead have room temperature water or warm water with some lemon. That's particularly good for Vata and Kapha. Leave room in your belly. So only eat until 75% full. That means, eating until you're satisfied, but not feeling stuffed or heavy. If you've been practicing overeating for a long time, it can be a little tricky to tune into when you're actually feeling satiated. Then I encourage to write in a journal to keep a little bit of a log. The foods that you ate, how did it make you feel, what was your elimination, and write sort of any symptoms that came up around that. Just maybe do that for a week and see if you're noticing any patterns. Rest after a meal or go for a slower paced walk. Just jumping straight into mind activities, really takes away from digestion. I mean, we can easily imagine that, right? It's just a matter of where the energy is directed. And then leaving 3 hours in between meals, and that is for proper digestion to happen. So when you eat a meal, it takes a while to digest, and if you put a meal right on top of that, in like an hour or so, that food has not become properly digested, so it impairs actually the digestion of both those meals. So as always, I hope that these guidelines were helpful to you. And if you'd like to see more of these kinds of videos and would like to support this channel, please subscribe. I look forward to seeing you next time.